Hi everyone, welcome back to Alison and Paige Talk Canada Reads Season 2. I'm Alison.
I'm Paige.
And yeah, we're back. Very excited to go through the Canada Reads process again with all of you.
Thanks everyone who listened and tuned in last year. Welcome back. And if you're new here, thanks for tuning in. Canada Reads been around. This is the 25th year. It's our
It's a
second time
milestone.
running through this, but I'll just explain briefly what Canada Reads is. So every year, CBC comes up with a list of, I believe it's always 15 books. Last year was 15, this year it's 15 books. So that's the long list. They're all Canadian authors. They don't necessarily have to be written recently. Like a lot of the time they do skew more recent. And then, yeah, all Canadian authors could be basically any genre, sort of under the category of a book every Canadian should read. And then after a couple weeks after that, there'll be a short list. And so what happens is there'll be 5 champions or 5, sort of Canadian celebrities who will each pick a book and sort of fight for that book to be the number one. So yeah,
We'll go through some debates, right? There's a debate process.
yeah. So it's sort of like the dates are in April this year. Each day, like on the Monday, all 5 books are debated and one's eliminated. And then the next day, another's eliminated. The next day, another's eliminated. So on the Thursday, we find out, who the winner is. So It's pretty intense. Gets pretty intense. There's been some dramatic eliminations. So, it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
And then what we do is we read each book on the short list. So we always do this kind of intro video on the long list in Canada Reads, and then what we'll do is when the short list comes out, we will do a video on each of the books. We'll both read them, we'll talk about them, give our thoughts, and then encourage you to talk with us or comment or engage with us. And yeah, it's a great way to find some new books, especially Canadian authors, and just have some fun with the whole process.
Yeah, and we found last year that there was a good diversity of books, of topics, of authors, lots of interesting topics and books that we enjoyed. I think we enjoyed, or at least to varying degrees, all the books last year. And we're happy with the winner. It was Two-Spirit Journey by Manish
Right here.
Yeah, you got it.
This is the winner of last year. Yeah, championed by Shayla Stonechild. Yeah, this was the first book we talked about too.
Yeah.
And yeah, what did you think of A Two-Spirit Journey?
It was almost like clear from the first day of the debates that it was a strong contender for sure. I think as the week went on, it was clear just how good a book it was in being a book every Canadian should read and that fit the theme. And what was the theme last year?
The theme was one book to change the narrative. So yeah, each year Canada Reads picks a theme that the shortlist should fall under, or picks a theme for the year, and then they talk about how, they just pick the theme, right?
Yeah, so every year there's sort of the main theme of a book every Canadian should read. That's like the main theme, and there's always like sort of a specific theme to that year. So there's a sub-theme every year, and I think it just helps move the conversation along, and maybe not move it along, but allows
keep it going.
Topics to like be discussed, and especially in the debates, and just kind of makes it a little different every year.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think Canada Reads picks a theme that kind of makes it a little different every year, change things up a bit. Last year's was one book to change the narrative. This year is one book to build bridges, but we'll talk about this. I do want to talk a little bit more about last year before we move on. Did you like what was your favorite book of the shortlist last year?
I would say it was Dandelion. And we had such a good time talking about like reading the books and talking about them, and also we like some of the authors watch some of our videos, so that was like super cool, and we got a couple messages from them on Instagram. You actually met one of the authors. You met the author of Dandelion at a book signing.
I was in Vancouver for a work trip, and they did a talk with I was the champion and the author, and got to like chat with them after and get our book signed. And she said that she saw our video, so, and that we had good rapport. So we got spoiled last season.
Yeah.
Was for sure. The bar, like we're keeping the bar, like we updated our audio equipment this year, but we're keeping the bar like pretty standard. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
Hmm.
My favorite was Dandelion. I also liked Edda and Otto and Russell and James.
Yeah.
Not a book I would typically pick up, but that's one of the reasons why I like Canada Reads is it helps me discover books I've never heard of before. And then also because a lot of like bestsellers, like there's a whole thing with bestsellers. There's so much going on behind the scenes of who actually gets to be featured
Oh
in
yeah.
a lot of bookstores. But yeah, that was good. I will say though, I enjoyed each of the books last year in their own ways, but I didn't love, love any of the books.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm curious about how this year is gonna go, but I wasn't like, oh my God, like I'm obsessed with this book.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's okay.
I
It's
agree.
hard to come by those kind of books.
That's the thing. Those books are like rare. Maybe like one in every 10 books that you read, maybe, or up there. Maybe one in every like 20 books you read
Yep.
might be there. Especially because it's not books we picked out. Because you might know the topics that you like, and then you seek out those topics, and then you read books, and then those are the ones you really cherish. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes not. Sometimes you find them a different way. Last year definitely was very solid. We were really excited about all of that. And yeah, we can go ahead and talk about this year's long list. It came out
Yeah.
January
8th.
8th, yeah, and it has 15 books on it. I'm pretty pleased with the long list. I think there's a lot of books on there that look interesting to me. And
Mm-hmm.
there were actually a couple that were on my to read. I think there's like two or three that were already I was looking on Goodreads and just sort of like reading about each of them. And I think there were two or three on my
Which
uh,
ones?
read. I know that I can't remember one of them. One of them is It's Different This Time, which is a romance book.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited to see because there was only ever been one romance book on Canada Reads, like ever.
Yeah.
So
Like
I
on the
think,
short list.
yeah, I think the short list. I'm not sure about the long list. I can't speak on the long list. So it'd be kind of cool if that was on there. Because I remember watching it a couple years ago, and I think there are a lot of people who read the short list who follow Canada Reads, and I think a lot of people maybe are people who have never read a romance book. So I think that it allows them to read that as well. And I did
Yeah.
notice there was a thriller as well. I forget what it's called, uh, but
Oxford Soju Club is a thriller.
that's a thriller as well. Yeah, and I think
There's
there
a
might be
few thrillers and there's a horror novel too.
yeah horror novel. I think there might be like one like humor kind of type book. So it
Is that
does seem
that
like
Terry Punch Out one, I think?
yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. And then there's some nonfiction as well. So I think it's branching out a little. I feel like it mostly was like memoir slash nonfiction and literary fiction are like the two genres that Can Reads usually is. So I think they're really
Yeah.
branching out because not only do they have that, it's different this time, but one that like jumped out at both of us. Do you know which one jumped out at both of us when we saw the
Heated
short?
Rivalry's on there. Yeah, and everyone's talking about Heated Rivalry.
That,
Um, which is funny because you were talking about, do you think and I'm curious your thoughts, do you think Heated Rivalry's on there because of all the hype around it? Do you think it would have still been on there if it hadn't been this big thing with the TV show and everything?
yeah, I thought the same thing. I kind of feel like it maybe wasn't on there, and then maybe they were kind of fine tuning the long list, and we're like, let's put Heated Rivalry on there, and maybe that will get more people interested in Canada Reads.
It brings more attention to it for sure. Because a lot of people are going to recognize that book and they'll be
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, what's Canada Reads? Oh, look, Heated Rivalry's on there. It's one of those popular books right now as well.
exactly. Yeah, it was the best-selling Canadian book of fiction.
I'm curious what the debates would be like with that one too. There's just like, I would find it so interesting if that was picked by one of the champions. So I don't know if we talked about, but a champion, one of the champions, each champion will pick a book. And so maybe that one resonates with them.
Yep.
Maybe a former athlete or something, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess we'll see. I think it's cool that it's on there. And it's a Nova Scotian author, which is great. And maybe people didn't know that or know that's a Canadian author too. So have you read Heated
No,
Rivalry? I've only watched the TV show.
and I really liked it. You really liked it too. I kind of like, if it was on the short list, I think I'd be happy because it'd be interesting to read. And then, yeah, we were kind of talking about, yeah, we'd be happy to see Hey Rob around there. There's several books that I think I'll read, whether they're on the short list or not. Another book that, like, well, maybe before I talk about another book that I thought was interesting, like, what's a book that you saw on the list that maybe stood out that you would read it, whether or not it's on the short list?
Yeah, I had one on the long list that was on my TBR. It was Everything is Fine Here, which is the book about where the main character kind of suspects her older sister is gay, and they live in Uganda where homosexuality is illegal.
Huh.
Which was on my TBR. And yeah, I'd be fine if that was on the short list, but I kind of like this idea of books that I normally wouldn't read being on the short list because it kind of forces me to check those out.
Yeah.
Often historical fiction, not my genre. Edinado, Russell and James, I think was historical fiction, right?
Yeah, I could see that.
Like there's the war and stuff. And so I think also The Cure for Drowning is historical fiction as well. That one looks really interesting. It's about like this firm girl, and then they go off to like different war efforts and they return together, and there's this like love triangle kind of thing. Did remind me of Etta and Otto. And then Oxford Soju Club. I don't often read thriller mysteries. That one's kind of piqued my interest. I think I would probably read that one too, regardless of whether it goes on the short list. So, yeah, how about you?
Yeah, the everything, or sorry, it's different this time. The romance book that seems intriguing, and then Crossroads is another one that I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of the book, but it's about the Humboldt like accident out west when there was the hockey team that was in
Mm-hmm.
a bus accident. So I think I'll definitely read that either way, because
When
that's,
did that one come out?
I'm not sure actually. I don't know if it was recent, or I feel like it might be somewhat recent.
Yeah, 2021. So, it's like I said, like it's a great way to hear about books that haven't crossed your radar, and
Yeah.
just kind of highlight those kind of books. So I think, yeah, I'd like to read that one. I actually just got the audiobook from the library, so fingers crossed it's on the short list. But the book, it's different this time. I think the Libby waitlist is very long. And for those who don't know what Libby is, it's a life changer. It's basically an app that you can download and connect to your local library. And then you can use your phone or your computer to get on, like, borrow books instantly, whether it's an ebook or an audiobook. So, great way to get books and support your local library because books are expensive these days. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We like consuming books in all different ways, whether it's a physical book, the ebook. You can read them on your phone, your iPad, or if you have a Kobo, or an e-reader, and also audiobooks. You can get them if you have Spotify Premium, you get them through Libby. There's other ways to get them, so we're gonna explore all of those avenues.
yes.
So I think last year we found that it does, sometimes you have better experiences with audiobook or ebook, depending on the book, depending on the author and the narrator. And so that's always fun to explore. Um,
Yeah, I forget which book it was. Oh yeah, Etta and Otto again. I did the audiobook and I found it so hard to understand because the way the
yeah,
book is
yeah,
written is much better for print than it is for listening. I was very confused. So,
yeah,
yeah, audiobooks are reading. Full
absolutely.
stop. So yeah, we'll kind of do a mix of avenues there for the reading. Yeah, any other thoughts on the long list?
So I think it's a really good list.
Yeah,
They'll definitely be books that I like, no matter what, on the short list. And that comes out January 22nd.
January 26th. Yeah, the champions and the short list will be revealed on January 22nd.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I'm kind of super focused on being excited about the short list, but also knowing the champions. Examples of past like champions or folks that are like advocating for the books have been Matea Roach. Matea Roach was a Jeopardy champion and now has their own book podcast. Like former mayor of
Justin
Calgary,
Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau. Yeah, so it's actors, news anchors, um, social media influencers. There's a huge range of people, but they all like reading. So that's sort of
And
what
it being
bond.
with the 25 years, or it being
Mhm.
25 years Canada Reads, maybe like would they bring back past champions? I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
throwing that out there. That'd be cool.
We'll
Yeah, well,
see. And we've tried to predict the shortlist in the past, but I think I was 1 for 5 last year, and I
yeah,
was 0 for 5 and you were 1 for 5. Like it's just, I
yeah,
was so convinced that one book was going to be on there, and it just
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, exactly. So
So
guessing we'll just find out on the 22nd. We'll find out the
yeah,
champions. That's super exciting. Yeah,
yeah.
I feel just excited to get this year started with the reading. We're going, just like we said at the beginning of the video, we're going to read each book. Each episode will be another book of the shortlist. I think we kind of try and just pick between ourselves which books we want to read, like in what order, and have a little chat about all of them and share our thoughts, whether they're good thoughts or controversial thoughts.
Controversial.
I feel like
We're usually what?
we're usually pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're very nice. I mean, to be fair, I can't write a book, so but yeah, I think
Right?
some honesty is good. Like I didn't enjoy this, or I struggled with this, but generally, like you can't. A lot of these books, or all these books, they're interesting, good books. Like the bar is pretty high, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Any other thoughts you want to add?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, we're very excited, so stay tuned. I will be releasing the videos. Feel free to comment or send us a message. We'll be posting here on YouTube, and then we'll also be posting via social media and on Spotify. Well, we're very much looking forward to Canada Reads, doing this together, reading together, and yeah, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Well, Ruby also enjoys Canada Reads. She's really into thrillers, and she also likes romance novels.
Yeah, Lucy likes romance as well. She enjoys when I'm sitting on the couch reading. Uh, she appreciates that.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Bye.